Netflix is the streaming home of a compelling new K-drama that perfectly combines some of the best aspects of Stephen King's Pet Sematary with the Death Note anime. Merging Pet Sematary's themes with Death Note's deadly rules might sound a little too bizarre on paper, given how the stories of the two franchises are starkly different. However, a closer look at Netflix's If Wishes Could Kill reveals that it includes some of the best ingredients from both. Death Note unfolds more as a cat-and-mouse thriller throughout its runtime, but also has traces of horror when it focuses on the supernatural curse lurking beneath the titular notebook. Stephen King's Pet Sematary, on the other hand, is a full-blown horror story that goes headfirst into exploring themes of grief and regret. Death Note and Pet Sematary might seem distinct from one another, but Netflix's If Wishes Could Kill highlights how they have more in common than meets the eye. Like Death Note and Pet Sematary, If Wishes Could Kill also etches its own unique identity. At the same time, though, it seems derivative of the anime and the Stephen King book in more ways than one. Netflix's If Wishes Could Kill combines Pet Sematary's core theme with Death Note's rules. Stephen King's Pet Sematary is known for drawing inspiration from W. W. Jacobs' Monkey's Paw, which is known for being one of the first literary explorations of the "careful what you wish for" trope. Similar to Pet Sematary, Netflix's new K-drama, If Wishes Could Kill, explores the disastrous consequences of what happens when human desires are granted without limits. In the show, a group of high school characters receive a death threat from a wish-granting app called Jirigo. The more they learn the truth about the app, the more they realize how it offsets every gain they get from it with a fatal loss. Similar to Pet Sematary, If Wishes Could Kill also explores how the cost of undoing fate is never just emotional but also existential. In both stories, the more one uses a curse object to fulfill one's desires, the deeper they find themselves in a cycle of consequences they can neither predict nor escape. The central application in If Wishes Could Kill also seems reminiscent of the titular notebook in Death Note. Both the notebook and the app serve as vessels that turn a user's intent into a lethal reality. Just like there are certain rules that a user must follow while using the Death Note, one also has to adhere to a fixed set of guidelines to make the Grieving app work. Similar to Death Note, the Netflix South Korean show is also driven by an investigative story in which the characters try to understand the inner workings of the central wish-granting app. Like Death Note's characters, the ones in If Wishes Could Kill start losing all control over their lives the more they use the app despite being well-intended in the beginning. Technophobia in If Wishes Could Kill is reminiscent of classic J-horror movies. The cursed technology trope in If Wishes Could Kill also reminds one of classic J-horror movies like One Missed Call, The Ring, and Pulse. If Wishes Could Kill, of course, gives the tropes a more modern spin with its portrayal of a curse mobile application. However, it taps into the same unsettling idea that technology may not create a curse, but it can become a more efficient, inescapable vessel for it. Just like a tickling clock looms over the characters in One Missed Call and The Ring after they end up coming in contact with the central curse, even the ones in If Wishes Could Kill face a 24-hour countdown, which further elevates the overarching tension in the show. Despite being derivative in more ways than one, Netflix's If Wishes Could Kill still finds creative ways to make itself stand out. However, its parallels with Stephen King's Pet Sematary, Death Note, and well-known J-horror tropes add a layer of nostalgia and relatable terror to its drama.